start from creating language files. We add in.php file to lang directory. Language settings for English will be stored in it. The task of this file is returning the associative array of keys and their corresponding values in certain language. That's why we add return array construction. We add test element to the array. The key is LNG test and the value is sample text line. We copy the file content, since file for French looks the same. We create file for French, it will be named as fr.php. Let's paste the copied code in it and change the value of LNG test key. We change example text for French translation. Language files are ready. The next is adding code for its usage. We create lang class, which is responsible for work on language files. Let's create lang class PHP file in lib directory. We create lang class in it. In this class, we add protected static data attribute. Its mission is storing the language settings. Let's create function which loads data from language files and adds language settings to data attribute. This function must receive code of the needed language as an argument. The most simple things are left. First, we have to receive language file path. We create lang file path variable and add the search value. Then we have to implement test for file existence of this path. We do it with the help of file exists function. If file exists, we assign array, which is in file, to data attribute. For this purpose, we need to include function. If file is not found, we have to throw exception. We write the corresponding message, lang file not found, and add lang file path variable to the end of the line. Language file loading function is ready. We have to create get function, which receives key as an argument and returns key value for loaded language. Except key, it may also receive the second argument, which is value, which will be returned if the specified key is not found. All that we have to do in this function is testing for key existence and returning of the corresponding value. We put this down in one line with the help of short note. If specified key exists in data array, function returns its value. If not, value equal to the second argument, which is default value, is returned. The lang class is ready. It allows loading language files and receiving access to translations in various languages. Let's go to app class PHP file. Language file loading must be implemented after the needed language is defined. In order to get it, we use router and its getLanguage method. We call load function of the lang class. For now, the language settings are being loaded automatically directly after creating router object. In order to simplify the work on line localization to the maximum, we add global function that is 2 underscores to the init.php file. This function calls get method of the lang class and receives the same arguments, key and default value. Creating such a function and localizing it in init.php file, we may receive line translation in any place of the project, just specifying 2 underscores key instead of lang get call. It simplifies our work a great deal. And now we are going to look at the example. We open default HTML file. We add some line foldings and call 2 underscores function between them. We specify LNG test key as function arguments and default value. We We open browser and check the result. As we can see, sample text is output. And what would happen if we explicitly add language to address line and specify FR, that is French? Sample text line is changed for its French translation. We have considered the case when the requested key exists in language settings array. In order to consider a situation when the requested key doesn't exist, we have to do the next. We add one more element LNG test2 with exemplary text value to the FR PHP file. In the enphp file, only one key remains. We go back to default HTML file and change the key. We change LNG test for LNG test2, that is, we just add 2 at the end of the key. We refresh page in browser. As we can see, the second value with 2 was received for French. We can see the default value line for English. Everything works correctly. There is no LNG test2 key in language file for English. That's why instead of its value, the second function argument, that is default value line, is output. Everything works correctly as expected. In this lecture, we've learned how should we work with file localization.